Welcome back to our math class. Our topic for today is about volume of a rectangular prism. Here is an example of a rectangular prism. A rectangular prism is a three-dimensional figure because it has length, width, and height. Now remember from our previous lesson that a three-dimensional figure is being measured using the quantity called volume. Now let's recall what volume is. Volume is again the amount of space a three-dimensional object occupies or contains, and it is measured using cubic units. Now, how do we find the volume of a rectangular prism? Here is the formula that we will use to solve the volume of a rectangular prism. That is, volume is equal to length times width times height, or V is equal to L times W times H. Now let's have some examples. We are asked to find the volume of the prism below, which is 2 centimeters long, 1 centimeter wide, and 5 centimeters high. So let's solve it here. Again, for us to find the volume of a rectangular prism, we will use the formula V is equal to length times width times height. So we already have here the given dimensions, and all we need to do is to substitute it in our formula. So we will have 2 for the length rather, 1 for the width, and 5 for the height. Now 2 times 1 is equal to 2 times 5. That will give us 10. Okay. But remember that again, for our answer to be considered complete and correct, we always need to put the proper unit. Okay. So in here, since the unit given is centimeters, our volume will be volume is equal to 10 cubic centimeters, or we can write it this way. V is equal to 10 cubic, then M. Okay, now let's proceed to the next example. What is the volume of the given rectangular prism below, which is 25 meters long, 6 meters wide, and 10 meters high? Again, for us to find the volume of the given rectangular prism, we just need to follow or use our formula, which is V is equal to length times width times height. Then we will substitute the given information or the given measurements. So this will be 25 times 6 times 10. Now what is 25 times 6? Let's solve it here. 6 times 5 is 30, and 6 times 2 is 12, plus 3, that's 150. Then we still need to multiply it by 10. Okay, so 150 times 10, that will give us 1,500. Since the unit given is meters, we will have volume is equal to 1,500 cubic meters. Or again, we can write it as V is equal to 1,500, then the word cubic, and M. Now let's proceed to our next example. Anna is sorting her things. She puts some of her clothes in a multi-box, which is 60 centimeters long, 45 centimeters wide, and 40 centimeters high. What is the volume of the multi-box? This time, we are given a word problem. Now let us recall how are we going to solve a word problem. Do you still remember the steps? Okay, very good. Again, the first step in answering a word problem is to understand the problem, which means that we have to identify what is being asked and what the given facts are. Then the second step is to devise a plan wherein we'll be formulating our equation, or we can just simply use the formula that will help us solve the problem. And next, we carry out the plan, or we will now solve our problem. And lastly, we will look back or interpret our answer. And of course, let us not forget to answer in ESA form, where E stands for equation, S stands for solution, and A stands for answer in a complete sentence. Now, are you ready to solve the problem? Okay, very good. Again, we are asked to find for the volume of the multi-box, which is 60 centimeters long, 45 centimeters wide, and 40 centimeters high. Since we are asked to find for the volume, therefore we will use the formula volume is equal to, since our figure is a rectangular prism, we'll have it as length times width times height. Then for our solution, we will substitute the given information in our formula. So in here, we will have 60 times 45 times 40. Okay, now let's solve. We have 45 times 60. Okay, since we have a 0 and 0 multiplied to any number will just give us 0. Let's write 0, 0 here. Then 6 times 5 is 30. 6 times 4 is 24. Plus 3, that's 27. We will have 2,700. But remember that we still need to multiply it by 40. So let's continue our solution. Again, 0 multiplied to any number is equal to 0. So this will be zeros. Then 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 0 is another 0. 4 times 7 is 28. 4 times 2 is 8 plus 2, that's 10. Then we add the partial products, 0, 0, 0, 8, 0, 1. Therefore, we will have 2,700 times 40 is 108,000. Okay. And the unit given is centimeters, so the volume will be 108,000 cubic centimeters, or we can write it as V is equal to 108,000, then the word cubic and centimeters. Okay, therefore, the volume of the multi-box is 108,000 cubic centimeters. Okay, good job. Now let's try our last example. Let us read together. A cargo truck is being filled with boxes of medical supplies for the hospitals in Manila. If the truck is 8 meters long, 3 meters wide, and 2.5 meters high, what is its capacity? Okay, so this time we are asked to find for the capacity. And we learned yesterday that whenever we are asked for the capacity of a specific container, it is the same as asking for the volume, because volume is generally understood as capacity. So let's solve the problem. Again, we will follow the steps we talked about earlier. So we start our solution with the equation. Since we are asked to look for the capacity, that is also the same as volume. And the container is a rectangular prism rather. So we will use the formula V is equal to length times width times height. Then for our solution, we will substitute the given information in our formula. Length is 8 meters, width is 3 meters, and height is 2.5 meters. Then we will solve. So 8 times 3, that is 24. Then we still need to multiply it by 2.5. So let's solve here. 24 times 2.5. 5 times 4 is 20. 5 times 2 is 10 plus 2, that's 12. 2 times 4 is 8, and 2 times 2 is 4. Then we add our partial products. 0, then 10. 1 plus 1 plus 4 is 6. Now, looking at our factors, we have here 1 decimal place. So in our final answer or in our product, we should also have 1 decimal place. Therefore, 24 times 2.5 is equal to 60. And the unit that we will use is cubic meters, since the dimensions of the rectangular prism or the cargo track is in meters. So the volume is equal to 60 cubic meters. Okay. Again, the capacity of the cargo track is 60 cubic meters. And that's it for our lesson for today. Congratulations on finishing another topic. Good job!